Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today, we're tackling a topic that's always buzzing, low-carb living. It has started so many arguments, changed lives, and really made us rethink how we eat.
Low carb, huh? The dream of eating steak all day, every day. Jokes aside, why does this idea keep popping up? And why does it seem to keep coming back into fashion?
Exactly. We're going to dig into that using the new Atkins for a New You as our guide. It's a fresh take on the old Atkins diet, and it's not just about losing weight this time. It's about making changes that last and getting healthy. It's about getting how food affects our bodies and how making smart food choices can totally change your life.
So it's not just about ditching bread for bacon then?
Definitely not. It's based on solid science about how fats, proteins, and carbs, those big macronutrients, actually affect our metabolism. The book walks you through 4 stages to help you figure out how many carbs you can handle, deal with health issues like diabetes, and stay on track for good.
I'm guessing it's not just about counting carbs though, right?
Exactly. That's why we're going to break down 3 key things today. First, we'll look at the science behind why the Atkins approach works. Then, we'll talk about how to actually do it with meal plans and tips for managing your carb intake. And finally, we'll share some real stories from people who've turned their lives around with this lifestyle.
Science, strategy, and real-life success stories. Sounds like we've got a lot to cover. Let's get started.
All right, let's jump right in, picking up where we left off. We need to dive into the science behind low-carb diets. Understanding the why is key before we can truly appreciate how this impacts not just weight loss, but your overall health too.
Exactly, because otherwise, it just boils down to carbs are the devil, broccoli is your savior, which isn't exactly groundbreaking. So, Alex, what's the real magic here?
Well, it's all about ketosis, a metabolic state where your body switches gears from burning carbs to burning fat as its primary fuel source. Normally, we rely on glucose from carbs as our go-to fuel, right? But when you drastically cut back on carbs, like in the early phases of Atkins, your body uses up its stored glucose, or glycogen, and starts looking for an alternative. That's when ketosis kicks in.
Okay, so basically, we're tricking our bodies into burning fat because there are no carbs around. It sounds resourceful, to say the least. So, what's the big payoff?
There are several, actually. One of the biggest and most noticeable is appetite suppression. Entering ketosis reduces the levels of hunger hormones like ghrelin. People often report feeling less hungry and fewer cravings in just a week or 2.
So let me guess, people are actually surprised they can make it through the afternoon without demolishing an entire family-sized bag of chips?
Precisely. It can be transformative for many. Unlike those calorie-restrictive diets that leave you feeling hangry all the time, ketosis can help you feel satisfied, not deprived, making it more sustainable in the long run.
All right, fewer hanger incidents. Interesting, but let's talk blood sugar control and diabetes management. What's the deal there?
This is really one of the most compelling parts of low-carb diets. Excessive carb consumption causes blood sugar spikes, and that demands a spike in insulin to bring it back down. Over time, these roller coaster spikes can lead to insulin resistance, where your cells stop responding effectively to insulin. That's a key precursor to type 2 diabetes.
A condition that far too many people are either dealing with or getting dangerously close to. So, are we talking prevention or reversal here?
Actually, it's both. By cutting carbs and stabilizing blood sugar levels, low-carb diets directly address the root cause of insulin resistance. Research has shown significant reductions in blood sugar levels and HbA1c, the gold standard for measuring long-term glucose control, in people following low-carb plans. There have even been cases of people managing to reduce or eliminate their diabetes medications.
Wow, that's huge. Medication-free living just by changing your diet? Can you give us a specific example to make this real?
Absolutely. Take Sarah Carter, for instance. She had a strong family history of diabetes, which was a major concern. After years of weight fluctuations and unhealthy habits, she was on the verge of developing the disease. But when she adopted the Atkins framework, she not only lost over 100 pounds, but also prevented diabetes from taking hold. She controlled her blood sugar so well through diet that she never needed medication. It was a complete turnaround.
A real metabolic win. I like that her story makes this feel achievable, not just theoretical. So, what about inflammation? Everyone's talking about it being the silent culprit behind pretty much every modern disease.
Exactly, chronic low-grade inflammation has links to heart disease, diabetes, and even certain cancers. Overconsumption of refined carbs is a big driver here, right? When your blood sugar spikes, inflammatory mediators are released, creating an environment that encourages disease to thrive.
So it's not just the cupcake. It's what the cupcake does to your arteries and organs once you've eaten it.
Exactly. Cutting carbs can lower inflammation markers like C-reactive protein or CRP, a substance your liver produces in response to inflammation. Studies on Atkins participants showed CRP levels dropping by nearly a third. Interestingly, the people with the highest baseline inflammation saw some of the most dramatic improvements.
That's pretty impressive. I'm guessing it's probably not just about removing carbs, though. It's also about adding the right kinds of fats and nutrients, too.
You're totally right. Things like omega-3 fatty acids found in fatty fish and walnuts have potent anti-inflammatory properties. And Atkins incorporates these healthy fats to amplify the benefits. It's about creating the perfect nutritional balance to calm the internal storm.
This is starting to sound less like dieting and more like fine-tuning a very expensive machine, your body. Though the whole idea of good and bad fats messes with what we've been told for decades.
That's so true. And that brings us to cholesterol, and specifically the nuances of LDL particles. Low-fat diets often fixate on reducing cholesterol, but it's not just about how much LDL you have. It's about the type. Smaller, denser LDL particles are actually more dangerous than larger, fluffier ones because they're more likely to penetrate artery walls and cause plaque buildup.
So, I'm assuming low-carb diets make your LDL fluffier?
That's one way to put it, but yes. Low-carb diets like Atkins not only help to lower the potentially harmful small LDL particles, but they also improve HDL, the good cholesterol, which further protects against heart disease.
So, carbs mess with glucose, inflammation, and even cholesterol. Seriously, what doesn't a croissant harm?
It's tempting to see carbs as the villain, but really it's about balance and how our bodies handle excess. What the Atkins framework does is recalibrate your macronutrient balance to optimize your metabolism and health.
And judging by these results, better blood sugar, lower inflammation, and improved cholesterol, it seems like Atkins might be onto something. Though I'll admit, my lingering doubts are about the real-life factor. Can people actually maintain this in the long run?
That's a key question, and it's exactly what we're going to explore next. From navigating meal plans to tackling cravings, let's unpack what this lifestyle actually looks like in everyday practice. So, understanding all the science behind this really sets the stage for actually doing it. That leads us to our next big thing, how to actually implement the new Atkins for a new you in your life. Following the science with actionable steps is key so our listeners can immediately use what they've learned. Let's get practical. What does this look like day to day? Starting with phase 1, induction.
Phase 1, the gateway to ketosis. Is this where people just stare at bread all day while only eating steak, right?
Not quite that dramatic, but I get where you're coming from. Induction is definitely the strictest, yeah. It's all about limiting yourself to 20 grams of net carbs a day. You focus on low-carb veggies, proteins, and healthy fats. The whole point is to reset your metabolism and kickstart ketosis.
Okay, low-carb vegetables better not mean endless iceberg lettuce salads?
Oh, absolutely not. We're talking about nutrient-packed greens, spinach, kale, broccoli. These are full of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, giving you lots of choices without killing your carb budget. Pair them with good proteins like salmon or chicken, and you have a really satisfying meal.
Fair enough. But how do people survive that first shock? I always hear about this Atkins flu.
It is real, what can I say? The first week or so can be tough. Your body's switching from burning carbs to fat, so you might get fatigue, headaches, be irritable even. It's mostly about losing water and electrolytes. But the book actually gives you simple tools to deal with it.
Let me guess. Drink a ton of water and maybe some snake oil disguised as an elixir.
Close. Hydration is key for sure. A pinch of salt in your food or sipping broth can quickly replace your sodium and electrolytes. These small things can really knock out those flu-like symptoms. Plus, you can track your food with a journal during this phase. That'll help you stay on track and see what's going on.
A journal? So, like an adult food diary? Is that really useful? Wouldn't everyone just write the same thing during induction? I had eggs and spinach repeated 3 times daily?
Actually, it's more detailed than that. You're not just logging food. You're logging how you feel, energy levels, when you're hungry, even your mood. Jesse Hummel found journaling to be a game changer. It didn't just help him stay under 20 grams of carbs. It showed him what triggered cravings.
Jesse, right. The guy who dropped 30 pounds and got rid of his knee pain, wasn't it?
Exactly. By sticking to induction for 4 months, Jesse really transformed his life. And it wasn't just the weight.
Wow, 4 months of that strict diet sounds intense. What happens after that? Do you finally get to loosen up a little?
Yep, that's phase 2. Ongoing weight loss, OWL. It's all about reintroducing carbs. But gradually is the key word here. You add about 5 grams of net carbs each week, and you actively watch how it affects your weight loss and how you feel.
So, instead of garlic bread, you're sneaking in almonds and berries?
Exactly. Nuts, seeds, low glycemic fruits like strawberries start to come back. The goal is to find your personal carbohydrate level for losing weight, your CLL. It is the amount of carbs you can eat and still lose weight.
Right, so it's like a balancing act. You figure out how much you can get away with before you mess it all up.
Exactly. You can look at Sarah Carter. After losing a ton during induction, she used OWL to add things like berries and nuts. She realized that legumes, lentils really spiked her blood sugar and slowed her down. Her persistence let her tweak her choices and stay on track.
It makes sense, but you have to be careful with nuts and stuff. You can easily eat a whole bag.
Portion control is your friend. Almonds have about 2.3 grams of net carbs per ounce, reasonable for a snack. Cashews, though, have almost double that. Pay attention to the labels and measure. That's what the book says, and it helps you stay under your carb limits.
I hate to admit it, I'm starting to see the light. It's like a custom playlist. You tweak it until it fits your rhythm. So then what?
Phase 3. Pre-maintenance is next. Here, you're approaching your goal weight, and you're figuring out your Atkins carbohydrate equilibrium, your ACE. It's about finding how many carbs you can eat and still maintain weight.
Okay, like leveling up. But how do you not slide backward?
Pre-maintenance is about holding on to the good habits you built. It's a balancing act. You can try new higher carb foods like legumes or whole grains, but watch how they affect you. Not everything will work. Tracking your weight and how you feel is super important.
And once you find your ACE, you're free in phase 4. Maintenance, right? Or is it still hard?
That's phase 4, lifetime maintenance. It's about constantly holding yourself accountable so you can stay healthy. The book sees this as the peak of sustainable living. You're watching yourself. That's your safety net. Jesse, he weighs himself every week and continues to choose really nutritious foods, but, while enjoying a treat every now and then.
Let's be honest, though. Most diets fall apart when you're sleep deprived, or someone brings birthday cake to the office.
Yeah, flexibility is key here. The book has tips, like eating a snack before parties so you don't arrive too hungry, or swapping out buns for lettuce wraps so you can still enjoy social things without overdoing it.
So you don't have to be perfect on lifetime maintenance. You just have to hold on loosely. Makes it less scary, I guess.
Exactly. It's about these things becoming part of a healthy lifestyle. Habits, social life, all of it. Atkins gives you a realistic plan for long-term health. Small changes keep driving progress without feeling overwhelmed. So, now that we've gone over some practical steps, it's time to talk impact. The bigger picture. Let's dive into long-term health and personal transformation. What really sets the Atkins diet apart is how it empowers people to change their relationship with food and health, not just shed pounds quickly.
Okay, so we're moving beyond the science of ketosis to how it can truly alter lives. Sounds good. But isn't this where most diets fall apart? They give you the rules, but life has a way of throwing curveballs.
Precisely. And that's where long-term strategies and resilience building come in. They're vital, and the book addresses them so well. Let's look at people whose lives were transformed by Atkins, beyond just the numbers. We're talking about reclaiming health, confidence, maybe even a sense of purpose.
All right, I'm listening. What kind of transformations are we talking about?
Take Jesse Hummel, for example. He's in his 60s, had always maintained a pretty stable weight, until suddenly he didn't. He found himself at 228 pounds, struggling with arthritis so bad he could barely move. His wake-up call? Not fitting into a suit for a family funeral. That, combined with a painful comment from a relative, really hit him.
Ouch, that's rough. So, a suit and some family commentary sparked the change?
Exactly. Jesse turned that discomfort into motivation. He fully committed to the Atkins diet, those low-carb principles. And within just 4 months, he lost 34 pounds. And it wasn't just about the weight. It was this sense of freedom. His knee pain? Gone. He started swimming daily again, something he hadn't done in years.
Now that's what I call a comeback. And I'm betting he didn't just lose the weight and call it a day?
Exactly. Jesse made it a lasting lifestyle change. Regular weigh-ins, new smaller clothes, all symbolic but practical ways of making sure he never went back. It was about taking charge of his life. And the key takeaway is how actively participating in his own health journey really impacted every other area of his life.
That's a great story. But one success story isn't a revolution. You have more, right?
Of course. Let me tell you about Sarah Carter. At 40 and 235 pounds. She was struggling with her weight, but also a family history of diabetes. She knew her health was on a dangerous path. So her mother's diagnosis was the wake-up call. Determined to not follow that same path, she turned to Atkins for prevention and a fresh start.
Diabetes is a powerful motivator, a ticking genetic time bomb. So what happened with Sarah?
It was astonishing. Over several months, she dropped 100 pounds. The weight loss was important, of course, Doc. But Sarah gained the confidence to leave her desk job and start her own property management business. It needed energy and drive she didn't even know she had 6 months earlier. The shift wasn't just physical, it was mental. She went from feeling stuck to thriving.
So she completely changed her life because of what she put on her plate? There's more to it than just eating a handful of almonds instead of a Snickers bar, right?
Actually, funny you mention it, because she did think ahead like that. Sarah learned from her past failures that trying to instantly cut cravings off is asking for failure. She constantly prepared. She always had low-carb snacks, like nuts, with her. And she developed this way of thinking, will this help or hinder my progress? And even when setbacks happened, which they do, she used the tools Atkins provides to reset and continue.
Turning potential slip-ups around. I like that. But these stories seem straightforward. Life isn't always that smooth, is it?
No, of course not. That's where resilience and having long-term strategies come in. Jesse and Sarah were successful because they focused on preparation and being mindful. This brings us to tools anyone can use to get over things like social pressure or emotional eating.
Social pressure is everywhere, so like birthday cake at the office or a family BBQ that's loaded with potato salad. How do you resist all of that?
Being prepared is essential. So eating something light and satisfying before the event can help keep your hunger at bay. Bringing your own low-carb options is a great way to make sure you don't feel left out with all the brownies being passed around.
So instead of just white-knuckling it with willpower, you're being proactive. And with emotional eating? Because a celery stick isn't going to cut it when I'm stressed.
I get that. This is where self-awareness comes in. When you recognize patterns, like TV binging with stress eating, you can replace the carb comfort foods with healthier options. Celery with homemade aioli, maybe. Or you could do yoga or go for a walk. The book also explains that in time and with ketosis, cravings tend to lessen naturally, which helps you break that emotional connection with food.
I like that these are realistic suggestions. It's all about small, sustainable changes. And once you rebuild that relationship with food, the rest falls into place.
Exactly. That's the great thing about this. It's not just about losing weight. It's about regaining balance, both physically and emotionally. Stories like Jesse's and Sarah's show that building these habits, paired with care and resilience, leads to rewards that are so much more than just the food you eat. They transform your life. Wow, what an enlightening conversation we've had. Today, we really dove deep into the science behind low-carb living, particularly how the Atkins diet leverages ketosis to boost metabolism, reduce inflammation, and regulate blood sugar. Plus, we unpack those 4 Atkins phases, guiding folks from that initial reset all the way to maintaining sustainable, healthy habits for life. And those transformation stories? Seriously inspiring. It's clear this isn't just another diet, it's a real catalyst for regaining control of your health and finding your purpose.
Totally. What really grabbed me was how this is about so much more than just shedding a few pounds. It's almost like re-engineering your body with incredible precision, one carb at a time. But the real trick, it seems, is how people learn to adapt, tackle challenges, and turn this into a sustainable way of life, rather than just chasing a quick fix.
Precisely. It's a system that beautifully balances structure and flexibility, science and psychology. So, here's our big takeaway. Whether you're now thinking about trying Atkins or just curious about your relationship with food, the crucial thing is intentionality. Understand how your food choices impact your body and how those choices can empower you to live a healthier, more energetic life.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Alex. Food is power, folks, so choose wisely. And that wraps it up for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.